The Minister for Trade and Investment.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I think firstly I'd like to just acknowledge Warren Truss. You need, in every organisation, in every government, in every opposition, you need people with some people who've got great experience and common sense and a keen sense of self. And I must say they bring stability and a sense of perspective to so many deliberations and problems and events, the sort of events that occur so often in this place. And Warren, from my observation over a long time, has been one such person. And as well, he's a man of very fine character, very fine character. He's a role model for so many. He should be very proud of his contribution to our great country and the leadership that he's shown, and I do thank Warren for that. Colleagues, I do appreciate this opportunity to confirm to the Parliament my intention to not recontest the next election, my intention to stand down from federal politics, all politics actually. I've got to say I've still got a few things to do on the trade front over the next little while, and hopefully some important things to try and conclude. So I do hope to have another opportunity, albeit probably from the backbench, just to put on the record before I depart this place a more extended vote of thanks and some more considered reflections. But I'll seek your indulgence at some other stage closer to the election on that. But I do want to say a few words on this occasion, because sometimes you don't get that much time at the dispatch box. And anyway, no. Look, I've had I feel it's the right time for me for all sorts of reasons, which I won't run through all of those, except to say that I've had a very eventful and fulfilling 12 years in this place. I think it's been, I suppose everyone says this, but I think it's been an extraordinary period, not one that we all look on necessarily fondly from either side at different times, but it is politics, and it's the essence of this business. It does test the strength of character of people on both sides, the sort of things we've all gone through, and to advance the country at the same time is again a test of our mettle. I arrived a bit late, probably at 53, and I feel in some ways I've been in a hurry ever since, because I was conscious, even though I'd had experience as a person in the back room, the very private sector, in the machine, the parliamentary machine, but I do feel that I arrived a bit late, and I knew I had to go through the steps. Even though I had some experience in politics, you've still got to learn a lot, and there is a lot to learn in this place to be effective and to learn how to influence decisions and to get them through. So I think I brought that running to even when I got into the last 3 years, and I have felt a sense of urgency. We all come here to try and do some good things, and I must say there were many times in the last 12 years that I thought I might have miscalculated coming back into this place, or coming into this place, because the opportunities, I mean, I sympathise with those I'm looking at with opposition. It is a very difficult period. It's soul-destroying in many respects. It's a very important job, I feel, but I felt I might have spent most of my political life in opposition, because when I was federal director, apart from the last year, which was very enjoyable because we'd won the '96 election, but the years before that were really tough, from 1989 through until '96, and so I do have a keen sense of what it means to be in opposition. But as I say, I still feel it's the Westminster system, and the opposition role is a very important one. I'm no spring chicken, but at the same time, I'm 64 and in excellent health, and I'm young enough to do other things, and there are other things that I want to, especially in business, and also, if I can, to try and assist the cause of mental health, the acceptance and the progress in the mental health space. I'll leave politics in the comfort of knowing that the Turnbull government and the coalition, I feel, are in very good shape. If we were really in bad order, if we were in a trough, you'd feel even more obligation to stay with it, and there's never really a right time to leave. But it is an opportune time, I think, for me to hand over the baton. Also, I must say, and I mean this, in the 30 years in and around politics, I've never seen a party room with such depth and talent that we've got at the moment. And that talent has to be nurtured and developed and have to experience different levels. And I think this is a chance with myself and Warren and others, Philip, to allow even more to come forward. And I've got enormous confidence in the team that we've got and the people that are coming through. I've had some great opportunities to serve our country, both under Tony Abbott and, well, firstly John Howard. I got some immediate, well, fairly quick opportunities. Then we went into opposition, as I just said. But under Tony Abbott in government and Malcolm Turnbull, and I'll be very grateful to them, both of them, for the opportunities. In particular, I just wanted to make reference in particular at this stage to the problem I had, well, the opportunity, as it turned out, to confront a mental health problem that I'd had for 43 years. And it came to a head during my time, during Malcolm's first leadership opportunity. And Malcolm could not have been more accommodating and sympathetic, and he did help me to leave the shadow cabinet in a way which didn't bring silly attention on the condition, allowed me to get some space and all the rest of it. And then 6 months later, Tony, of course, was then in the seat, and again, Tony had the trust in me to, once I had nailed the problem, and it did take me 6 months to get to a point where I could manage it, and I'm still managing it, but he put trust in me to be Shadow Minister for Finance. And I can't tell you how much that gave me a lift, just the fact that that trust was placed in me after what had happened. And I must say, this support helped me achieve what was my aim, which was to seek to get back into good health, to manage the problem, and to be able to demonstrate to others in the community that, in fact, you can not only manage the problem, and I think something close to 85% can either be cured or can manage the problem and lead a normal life, but that you could go back and not take a secondary role. You can go back and actually assume even greater responsibility. And it was the trust not only of Malcolm and Tony Abbott, but so many of my colleagues here and many on the opposition benches, and I thank all of you, thank the whole chamber for the support that I got, and the normality that you went on with. That's the most important thing, not to look at it as though you've got 3 heads, because you've declared you've got a problem. So I've had a lot of support and friendship, not just on that occasion, but throughout the 12 years. Things that I'll never forget. And again, so many on my own side that I'm close to, but there's others on the other side. Certainly I have a great respect for anyone who's in this place, to be honest. But people like Gary Gray and others. Gary was my opponent as campaign director in '96. I think we formed a great respect of one another, and that's certainly never diminished in my mind. If anything, it's grown over the years. It's been a unique privilege to serve my constituents. I don't think you ever really realise, some might if they've done a lot of local government work and whatever, but you don't realise when you put your hand up and win pre-selection, and then you think, I've got 160,000 people that I'm supposed to to represent, and I wonder whether I'll like all of the work that's associated with an electorate, and the events and the weekends and all that. To my great relief, I found that I really enjoyed it. It has been one of the great pleasures, and one of the very few regrets in the last 2.5 years, or the only one I think, is that being away over 200 nights a year overseas, and then 16 to 19 weeks up here, a lot of my my contact with my electorate has been compromised in that regard. But they like to see things happening, and I've had an opportunity to do a few things, and they've been very supportive nevertheless, as have all my party members. I'll reflect on some of these later on. I just want to finish at this stage to thank certainly my staff at the moment, because next time I get up and say a few things, some of them might have moved on and all the rest. I've basically had the same team for 2.5 years. It's a very strong team. I think it's held in high regard for its professionalism, for their respect of colleagues, and that not always happens in political offices, and it's critical, absolutely critical, that every member, no matter which side of the parliament they're on, that they're respected, I think, by our staff and looked after. And I felt all along I've got some people of great experience, and I'm really proud of the reputation my office has, I think, in this place and in the circles that I've had to work as a Minister for Trade and Investment, and they have been a very, very big part of any of the achievements that we've been able to nail over the last 2.5 years. Could I thank my wife in particular, Maureen, my wife of 42 years. I can remember my father said when I told my parents that at the tender age of 23 that Maureen and I had got engaged, and my father, who's he's not one to give a lot of advice or anything, but he said to me, son, you've chosen a very accomplished partner. And he said, you're going somewhere, I don't know where it is, but you've got an accomplished partner who will be able to travel with you. And how very true that has been. She's a woman of great consequence, in my view, and I think in the view of others. An elegant person who has been a great support. I've travelled, I think I've done well over 7,000 domestic flights in my in my career, and now a few international flights I've added to that list. But she's quite an independent person who helped, more than anything, brought up our kids, and was a very good teacher at the same time, an English teacher. To my 3 children, we're a very close family, and they're very supportive, and I'm very proud of them, their respective partners, who are all 3 lovely people, and my beloved parents. So for all of that, thank you very much. It's been a great privilege, it's been a great pleasure, and not too many people get the sort of opportunities I've been given, and I thank all of you for your part, and all of you have had some part in that contribution. Thank you very much.